There are 25 epic brawlers in the game. Since it's the largest rarity, I'm going to rank every single one of them so you guys know exactly where to spend your hard-earned credits and who to target for your next unlockable brawler or trophy push. Starting out with number 25, we've got Frank, which apparently F tier stands for Frank because that is the only place this guy has been in recent history. Outside of having a ton of health points, there's really not a lot that Frank brings to the table. He's outclassed by other tanks. There's other brawlers that do his job better than him. Would love to see a little love for Frank, but for now, he is going to be at the bottom of our epic tier. Next up, I've got two brawlers in the D tier, and this is a tier that I made just above F tier. I didn't feel like they were Frank level, but I also, when I'm looking at the C tier brawlers I've got ahead of them, couldn't quite put them there. They're definitely below average, they're definitely difficult to win with, and they're definitely not great brawlers right now. Those two brawlers at number 24 is going to be Maisie, and number 23 is going to be Hank. Hank finally busted out of the F tier. I think he's just good enough to be better than Frank. There's more maps and modes right now where I feel like you can win with him. It does require specific matchups. You got to play it well, but it's a little bit easier to win than somebody like Frank. And Maisie has really fallen from grace for me. She's not used at all at a professional level. In ranked, there's never a time where you're going to be drafting her. In ladder, it's going to be pretty difficult to win with her despite her having that hypercharge. She used to be the best brawler in the game, but because of all these nerfs, she's just not as good as she used to be anymore. Next up, I'm going to be running through my C tier brawlers. These are brawlers that are slightly below average. You can win with them. It's still not the easiest, but they're definitely better than those D tier and F tier brawlers that I mentioned earlier. Coming in at number 22, it is going to be Ash, which breaks my heart a little bit. I was hoping he'd be a little bit better. He's going to be seen in some pro play because they know exactly when to use him, the right matchups and things like that, but he lacks from a hypercharge. He's beat by a lot of other tanks. He can put up numbers if you play him right. I still think you need to be pretty good with him though. It requires some good matchups and a little bit of luck, especially in something like ladder. If you're playing ranked, I don't think you're going to be drawing him too often, so he wouldn't be a priority for me to unlock unless you just love the guy, but at the end of the day, he's just going to sit here at the bottom of C tier for me. At number 21, we have Grom, and if you're a beginning player, you're going to be able to land great shots here, but as you grow and become a better and better player, higher and higher trophies, things like ranked, Grom really falls out of love. He's great for knockout, but other than that, he doesn't have a ton of competitive use. There's just better options for the role out there. There's other better throwers. At number 20, and one that I feel like often has controversy for some reason, is going to be Bonnie. Bonnie actually got some buffs, was played a ton at pro use, and got absolutely shredded through. The win rate wasn't great. She wasn't used at all this second month after all those buffs that she got. I still feel like she's not that special. You almost have to run that +1 for the sugar rush as well, and if somebody runs her down, she gets in trouble a good bit. I'm just not in love with Bonnie right now. I think she can work. I think there's decent matchups for her, but more often than not, I would rather not have Bonnie in the game than I would have her. And at number 19, this is another one that I'm kind of bummed out about. As much as I wanted to put him up even higher, I have to put Bo here in this top of C tier. The mines are going to trigger some newer players, so if you're newer to the game, this guy's going to work great. You're going to be able to land shots, you're going to be able to trip people on mines, but again, he really phases out as you grow in the game. He's not used a ton in ranked, he's not used a ton in pro play. I feel like given how long range of a meta this is too, the Pipers, the Bells, even Megs of the world right now just outclass Bo at this time. So for me, Bo is at the top of C tier. I wanted to put him B tier, but I just couldn't quite bring myself to do it. Next up, I'm going to be going through the B tier brawlers, which to me are pretty balanced brawlers, very solid brawlers. They're not overpowered. They get the job done, and maybe they have a map or modes where they thrive in or are special in. So coming in at number 18 is going to be Sam. Sam is a classic run it down brawler. He is in your face, wasting your ammo and cycling his life like crazy to set his teammates up for better success. In ranked or pro play, he's going to get a lot more use, I feel like, than something like the general ladder. They know his matchups really well and the maps very well that he works in, as shown this month in professional gameplay. But for your average Joe, though, I think it's a little trickier to take him on, which is why I'm going to kind of balance him out here at the bottom of B tier. I felt like he was a little bit better than C tier. I do think Sam can thrive in the right situations. You just got to find him. At number 17 is going to be B. I went back and forth on B. I think she is definitely a balanced brawler, a very solid brawler, can do well into tanks in those mid to longer range situations as well, but I didn't feel like, given the pro play that she got, the ranked play that you get, and honestly the general ladder, that she's something special. I think she's very good. I think she definitely works. Very solid, but there are other long range brawlers I would rather have. Coming in at number 16 is going to be another sharpshooter. It is going to be Mandy. She is the queen of knockout. The limitless range that she has with her super is going to enable you to pick up so many extra kills if you land the shots right, but I don't think she's overpowered. She has several modes that she's good at. Knockout, like I said, bounty, wipeout, very good at those, but can't really branch past that. She's not oftentimes going to be a first pick or something like that, and on ladder, you're definitely going to be able to win with her. At number 15, I'm going with Lola, who's a very high DPS brawler right now, can work across a lot of maps and modes, and if you're playing the general ladder, you're probably going to be able to use her across the board. There's a lot of things that she can do really well. I just don't think she's necessarily special in any of those categories. She's the definition of somebody that is balanced, so I think she sits in a a very good spot at number 15. At number 14, I'm going with Ims. If you're newer to the game, she is going to shred through opposing brawlers. For whatever reason, area control brawlers, I always feel like do very well early on in the game when people are learning how to use brawlers. So Ims early on, going to be great for you. Very high DPS, but she lacks from not having a dynamic super, a hypercharge. Do like that she goes into the Sandy invisibility very well. There's a lot of maps and modes that she does pretty well in. I just don't think she's special right now, so number 14 feels right. Number 13 is going to be my favorite brawler in the game. It is going to be Gale. I feel like Gale is somebody that benefits much more from professional gameplay. I think they're going to see the value in him in that draft situation a lot better. He's the ultimate tank counter, but you kind of have to get the right matchups. If you're outgunned from the range from brawlers like Piper and Belle and Meg that are running around a lot right now, Gale could really struggle into that, but he does have two great star powers. The Twister gadget gives him some solid value. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the game as a result of that. I love Gale, but it's hard to push him any higher than this. He's definitely balanced. I feel like he's in a good spot as somebody that does play him a lot. So number 13 is where I'm going to place him. Number 12 is going to be a controversial one, but hear me out. It is a favorite to many of you. I am putting Edgar here. I feel like Edgar is a balanced brawler right now. I don't feel like he is inherently broken. I don't think he's overpowered. I think his hypercharge is very solid, but I feel like he's been tuned appropriately given how strong that hypercharge was at the beginning when it came out. And also, he's a skilled brawler and you have to learn how to play him. His win rate on ladder is atrocious. Most people do not know how to use him well. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and one mistake with Edgar can be really costly if you're not cycling that super properly. Otherwise, you're kind of just a sitting duck. So due to all of those factors, I do feel like you can be very good with him. Heck, he could be even higher on this list if you were one of those good players out there, but you have to learn how to use him, and it's not the easiest thing in the world, and therefore, he's coming in at number 12. At number 11, I am going with Griff, who actually surprised me a little bit. He's a very solid brawler, and I knew that, but he actually got a lot of love in the most recent monthly finals. 7 plays, 57% win rate, which may not seem much globally, but it's a lot more than a lot of the brawlers on this list, and it's a very solid win rate at that as well. I think he's well-rounded, great damage, can break walls with the piggy bank, shreds through opponents with his super, very solid on those kind of mid-range engaged maps. He's just in a good spot right now. Number 10 is going to be a brawler that has actually fallen down quite a bit for me. It is going to be Nani, who I feel like is no longer somebody I can consider in that A tier. Look, in ranked, she was very good in that long-range meta that we had a couple seasons ago. She has multiple kits for multiple modes, very good into those single-shot brawlers, right? If you see Piper on the other end, Belle on the other end, Nani is going to be the person for you. But other than that, I feel like both of those brawlers, who we'll get to in a little bit, are going to just be better options more generally and across more maps. I feel like Nani is very limited in the maps and modes she can play compared to other brawlers as well. She's still very solid, just noticeably different than what she used to be. Number 9 might have some head turns, but I'm going with Pearl here. I really debated whether Pearl was kind of an A tier or a B tier brawler, but she didn't quite meet what I thought as an A tier. I don't think she's as hard of a carry of a brawler as she used to be. She does solid damage, has a good gadget, has a hypercharge, but again, just doesn't meet the criteria for me to really bump her any further up. I think she's playable on a ton of maps and modes right now, but in terms of fun factor, she's not the most fun for me. So for the more casual players out there, maybe avoid this one unless you're just strictly looking for W's, but B tier, the top of it feels right, just given how good she has been since those nerfs she's gotten. At number 8, we have another big time faller in our rankings. It is going to be Larry and Lori. They got a ton of nerfs, and it was finally enough to take them out from being at the tippy top of the meta. They've having a little fallen from grace, but I still feel like they are very involved in the pro scene, in the competitive scene. So in ranked, still somebody you're going to want to hold on to. They can still be super frustrating to go against. I mean, it's a thrower with decent speed, with good damage, with a reverbing shot, and a spawner on top of that. Inherently, Larry and Lori are going to be very solid. They weren't quite at the bottom of A tier for me, but I'm putting them at the top of B because they are still very solid brawlers, still worthwhile to unlock, and definitely going to get you some wins if you're a more competitive player. Number 7 is going to kick off our A tier, and that brawler is going to be none other than BB, one of my favorite brawlers to play right now. She's significantly better than what she used to be. That hypercharge made a big difference, and sure, having 2 bubbles instead of 1 when it connects is really nice, but it's not what's going to make BB in this A tier. It's the stat boost that you can get from that hypercharge. I believe the hypercharge only takes 6 shots to charge up, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that many, and if you're a really good BB player, that's 2 to 3 times a game. They're going to be able to bolster some extra stats, which is a huge deal considering BB is somebody that has to be in your face, has to run down opponents, and when you got some extra speed coming your way from BB, that is a huge threat. BB can be incredible to use if you're good with her, and even if you're not, you can just swing that baseball bat and have some fun. So BB is going to come in at number 7 for me and is a very valuable one at that. Number 6 on this list is somebody that I still feel like is very good despite getting a hypercharge nerf. It is going to be Colette. Colette is the queen of heist. The amount of damage that she can do, especially with that hypercharge super, is unbelievable. And no, she's not quite as good as she used to be, but she's still incredible in the tanks, awesome on heist, has multiple builds, and still deserves to be an A tier brawler if winning is your focus. And if you like Colette, she can be a lot of fun too, just running over opponents at times. She's a top pick on certain maps and matchups, which is why I think she deserves to be in this A tier. Number 5 on our list is going to be Pam. And if you're somebody that's looking for a flashy brawler or a more fun brawler, there are going to be better ones out there for you. However, if you want to win, it is undeniable that Pam is a great choice for that. She thrives in the positioning category, does really well in these single shot brawlers right now. Good mythic gear, great gadget, healing station, can overwhelm opponents, and with all the HP that she has, she's going to do so well into so many different matchups in the meta right now. If you're somebody that's geared towards winning in the ranked side of things, go with Pam, and if not, look for other brawlers to have more fun with. At number 4 on the list, I've got Stu, who is a great brawler, but you have to know how to pilot him. He lacks from a damage output, but he does bring some great tools to the table. 2 great star powers, 2 great gadgets, so you've got multiple builds and options for him, and Stu is somebody that you can use across so many different maps and modes. He's also a little bit of a meta pick right now if you're looking for some ranked brawlers, because he can do really well into some of these single shot brawlers. It's really frustrating to try and deal with him. The one thing I will say is spawners do really well into him, so that can be a very tough matchup. Think ones like Mr. P porters, Tara spawners, Eve hatchlings, all of that can be a little frustrating to deal with, but he's definitely an A tier brawler. I think he's very solid, and especially if you know how to use him, you can maybe even carry him to being an S tier kind of player. He can be very fun as well, so I think Stu hits the mark across all kinds of boards. At number 3, and rounding out our A tier brawlers, it is going to be a fan favorite in Piper. I'm sure a lot of you all are going to love to hear that, as do I. Piper is great for the game. She's very fun. She's skillful, but also a hard carry kind of brawler. If you're into ranked, this is a must-have upgrade kind of brawler. And if you're somebody that just wants to carry some bad randoms on ladder, this is an excellent choice as a brawler to get better at. She doesn't have a hypercharge, but she is still deadly in knockout, bounty, and honestly, even some certain gym grab maps can be a great gym carrier with the jump away that she has. Fantastic carry option, all around very fun. I love Piper. I know a lot of you all out there too, so it makes my heart happy that she's at the top of this A tier. Our final 2 brawlers are going to be our S tier brawlers, and the first of those 2 is going to be none other than Belle, the second most picked brawler at professional gameplay this month. Belle's somebody that's always been around. She's versatile, does well on so many maps and modes, and no, she's not flashy. She did get a hypercharge nerf, but it was a pretty minor one. As somebody that's mastering Belle right now, you can get it at least twice a game, I feel like, if you're playing it right. She has range, a bounce shot gadget, which is very fun, by the way, depending on the knockout map you're playing. The nest eggs are great for positioning, and her hypercharge stat boost is huge as a sniper. More damage and more speed is an awesome thing to chase down opponents and make those shots a little bit easier for you. Go with Belle if you're a casual player, if you're a ranked player, or if you're just trying to aspire to be a pro player. This is a great brawler to get good at right now. And finally, coming in at number 1 is going to be one of the most banned brawlers in the game, and he is at the top of the S tier, but honestly, if I can make another tier, call it the S plus tier if you will, it is going to be Angelo, who is probably still the best brawler in the game despite some nerfs that he got more recently. The only weaknesses that I can really see him having is the max combinations that you'll see right now, so a lot of health and a lot of speed from max does frustrate Angelo for sure, but he's got high damage, great speed, phenomenal gadgets, and rewards accuracy so well, along with poison and healing that he gets from his super. He's an unbelievable brawler, just inherently a very good kit. I think it's going to be very hard to bring him down without some insane nerfs, so across the board, if you're a competitive player, a casual player, Angelo is the best brawler you could possibly unlock for fun and winning combination in this game.